Okay, we're back. Let's go get some experience out of vaults. Whoops. Not sure what happened there. I fat-fingered my keyboard and it sparked out for a second there. Oh boy. Okay. Almost had to deal with a convoker doing word of recall there. Might as well go invisible if all this stuff can't see it. Haste potion. This little trip into vaults has already become worth it. Okay. Okay, we don't want to go not invis right now. Instead, see if we can get this dude on my side. That is just not working for me, is it? Finally. Alright. Thankfully, that LCS missed twice in a row. Could have been pretty nasty if it didn't. Of course, we do have all this evasion for a reason. Okay, minor hiccup. We'll keep moving. Nice short sword, Trog. Nice try at figuring out what I want. We will penetrate through to this one. Okay, got my hit points back. We'll go invisible. And we'll just tab this stuff. We're going to resist corrosion. We don't need it. Hope I don't get paralyzed. There we go. Let's recharge enslavement. So I have the Hex Wand available. Let's get some strength. At this point, I'd rather just be able to do more damage. Dex is well into the diminishing returns area. I think that starts around, what, 24 maybe? Not sure on that. Soon we'll use up this stealth manual. That'll be good. I hope you enjoy the sound of my clicky-clacky, or clicky-clacky IBM style keyboard. Definitely recommend, if you've got a little bit of money to spare and you're looking for something to spend your money on and you use your computer a lot, get yourself a DOS keyboard. Works really, really well. Really more satisfying, a lot more satisfying to type on than a generic keyboard. There are a few different kinds of keyboards. I used to have them, I used to know what they were actually called. I'd have to look it up again, but there's like the I think they're called web keyboards or something, the ones that are on laptops, and it's like the really tiny keys with the very small press. Then there are the regular keyboards, like, you know, like a generic Dell keyboard for a desktop. Well, I mean, I guess you could hook it to a laptop too. And those ones have like the really thick rubbery material. If I go back and I use one of those, it feels like weirdly rubbery, weirdly, oh no, we're contaminated. Too hard for this invisibility to work. You know, really I should not even try to go invis if I'm contaminated at all. But yeah, anyway, if you go back to using a regular keyboard after using one of these, which occasionally I do because I have to work on other boxes sometimes, it feels bad. Like, you'll notice the difference. It's very tactile when you're using a DOS or a, well, it doesn't have to be the DOS brand, like whatever, any kind of IBM style mechanical, they're called mechanical keyboards. I mean, you don't have to get that brand, get whatever one you want, but I do think it's a good purchase. I certainly enjoy mine. Then again, I spend a lot of time on a computer, do a lot of programming, that kind of thing. I'm writing a book right now still. I'm sure I mentioned that a while back. Maybe I can get some of you guys to purchase it once I'm done. I think it's good so far. I'm roughly 33,000 words in, and I've been working on it for about a month or two. So my progress is not as fast as I want it to be, but it's also not like terrible. You know, I've got something to show for it. Now, if you're not a big reader, or if you just aren't familiar with, you know, a lot of people don't know. People think of this by, people usually think about the length of a book by the page count rather than the word count. But when you're writing, it tends to go by the word count when you're trying to figure out, well, how much do I really have here? Because, and I've been reading about this, it's interesting, like the publishers, which I probably wouldn't use a publisher, I would probably just use, you know, my own, I'd probably just release on like Amazon or something. But the way the publishers do it is they divide by 500. So if you've got 500 words, you've got one page, according to those guys. Okay, what's going on? Did the Bogart teleport? That's weird. Anyway, see, I've got 33,000. Your average fantasy novel probably has around 100,000, so you could say I'm like 33% done, like I'm a third of the way there. Let's penetrate this stuff. Of course, that's a little naive to say, to be honest, because I'm not actually a third done. I'm a third of the way done with a first draft. When you're writing a book, you don't. I mean, I know I like to think I'm a good writer, but I'm not gonna just like finish it up and say, okay, it's good now. We're gonna send this thing out. I hope people buy this thing. I mean, I'm going to have to go over it. I'm going to have to redraft it. I'm going to have to cut parts out. I'm going to have to put more parts in, probably. I'm going to have to run it by a few people, you know, to see if there's things that don't make sense, if there's things that are too wordy, if there are things that aren't wordy enough. So it's a process. This would be the first book I've ever written. I've always wanted to, and now I am. It's one of those things that you can, you know, I like the fact that anybody can do it. You know, if you want to sit down and write, you can. And literally the only thing stopping you from doing it is you. You know, if you're into that kind of thing, you are the thing stopping yourself from getting that kind of thing done. I mean, that's very, it's very freeing if you think about it. Like, nobody can stop you from sitting down and typing out a novel if you're into writing. So it's like you have nobody to blame but yourself if you're not getting it done. It's kind of a no excuses kind of thing. Because with everything else, like if you're working at your job and you don't get promoted, you can find ways to rationalize it and say, oh well, it's, you know, it's because Johnny in the next cubicle is a real jerk and he is like sucking up to the boss and he gets all the free stuff or whatever, you know, all the promotions, all the credit. You can blame somebody else, you know, like, oh, it's this, it's that. But when it comes down to it, like with writing a book, tasks like that, it's really it's all on you. Like, can you pump the words out? Are they good? Are you able to get it out? I mean, you can't speak as to, you know, maybe you just don't have the talent for it. That's a thing that could happen. But anybody could write a book. It's not necessarily going to be a good one, but anybody could do it. You just got to pump it out, you know. So it's a discipline thing, and it's one of those. I like it because it's one of those tasks that it's long. It's definitely long enough to, well, if you've got a project, like if you're working on a project, let's say you've got something that you want to do. If you have some kind of plan, and I'm not necessarily talking about like a business, just any kind of plan. Like, let's say you want to build a shelf. You've got a plan to build a shelf. You're going to learn some woodworking stuff, and you're going to build a shelf. Probably within a week, like on the order of a week, 2 weeks, you got yourself a shelf, you know? Very quick. It's very quick to get that started. It's very quick to get that done. All you need is like a day or two, a few hours of free time to read up on how to do it. Maybe you need a little bit of money to buy like the tools and varnish and whatever. But assuming you have those resources, assuming those are available to you, all it takes is a couple hours of time, you know, depending on how big of a thing you're building. So you could have that, you could make a plan, and you could have that plan done within a week or two. A book is something way longer term, and that's a whole different project entirely. That's something that you might be working on for like a year or more. If you're if you're the Game of Thrones guy, you might be working on it for like 10 years, but that's just lazy. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a longer term project. You can try to sit down 8 hours a day and pump out like 8,000 words. Like, technically, I've kind of measured how fast I do it, and I can get out a good 1,000 words an hour. So if I were to devote my whole day to it, in theory, I would be able to pump out like 8,000 words in a day if I spent like 8 hours on it. Now, in reality, the creative process doesn't necessarily work like that. You could get burned out doing that. But even so, even if you were to work with that kind of speed, it's still a project that's going to take you... Oh, right, I should be using silver on this. it's a project that's going to take you, you know, a while. Well, actually, I guess if somehow you could pump out 8,000 words a day, I guess you would be done within a couple of weeks. But that's not very. Okay, well, here's an example. I'm not a big fan of Stephen King, but he once said that he aimed for 2,500 a day, which is pretty good. Now that he's older, I think he aims for he said something like he aims for 1,500 or 1,000. Maybe it's just 1,500, I'm not sure. Could be wrong about these numbers, but anyway, the real point is that no matter how fast you write, you're still going to have to do drafts, you're going to have to do all kinds of stuff. Redrafts, I mean. It's a project that takes a long time. Let's say like months at a minimum. And that's enough time for you to have like existential concerns like man, am I like what's going on here? Like, am I wasting my time? Am I gonna sell 0 units of this thing? Is it gonna be like total crap? Assuming you don't care about the money, you're gonna at least care about the quality of the thing you're doing. You know, and that's gonna happen, I think, to just about anybody who's working on a project long term. And I like that kind of project because it really makes you think about what you're doing. It makes you really examine how you're spending your time, because at the end of the day, that's all that matters is time. Like, how are you spending your time? You only get so much of it. You're going to get like 90 years on this planet if you're lucky, and probably a good portion of those are already over. And you just want to make sure that while you're around, you're doing things that are meaningful, productive, generative, enriching. It sounds like a self-help book or maybe like a meme or something, but I mean, it really is true. Okay, we're gonna leave behind Majinbo. I haven't really been talking about this WizLab because there's not much to say. I mean, I just tabbed through it, so it's not really a big deal. Majinbo is always in there, I think. I hate that weapon. I don't think it's good. You lose hit points while you are casting. It's just not good, and you don't really want to be swinging with a crappy +6 quarterstaff, even if it is vamp. So that's firmly in the meme weapon territory for me. But yeah, long-term projects will really put things in perspective. You'll get a really good idea of, are you spending your time right? Are you wasting it? Now for me, I mean, it really depends on what your goal is. For me, I'm writing this book, and I don't care if it sells or not. It's not about the money for me. I just want to put out a quality product. I mean, if I could somehow write a bunch of books and actually make a living off of that, that'd be sweet. That'd be really cool. But I'm not like banking on that. It's just a thing. It's like, part of it's a pride thing. Not a lot of people can say like, oh, I've actually, I've pushed out, like I've actually published a book. I mean, I've published research papers, but it's not quite the same thing, So yeah, it's just like a personal point for me. Like, I want to be able to have said I did that, but I also don't want it to be crap is the thing. Like, for me, it's going to be good enough for me, like if a bunch of people read it and they say it sucks, well, that would be unfortunate, but I mean, if I make 0 money on it, $0, that's okay too, as long as I feel like I did a good job. Like, you're competing with yourself is what it's about. I don't mean writing books, I mean like life in general. You should make things good enough for you, and you should hold yourself to as high a standard as you can, because if you're not, what is it Bruce Lee said? A man should always exceed his limit. Like, I truly believe that. Like, guys especially. If you're not constantly testing yourself, I mean, I'm telling you, that's where things like depression come from. You're comfortable, you're bored, your life is too soft, your life is not stoic enough, you know, you don't lift, you don't work out, you don't challenge yourself mentally even. A lot of these people who are depressed, that's the problem. And I'm not saying that like depression is not a real thing, or that it can't sometimes have a genetic component. I'm certain that it does. Kurt Vonnegut, his mom killed himself. He was always afraid he was going to kill himself as well. He wrote about it. He's one of my favorite authors. And to a large degree, yeah, there's a genetic component for a lot of these people, but I think that you can fight that. And I think that the way you do it is through challenging yourself. And never, never letting yourself be content to just kind of get into a pattern, you know? Get like a hobby, something generative, something interesting. I started gardening recently, something that really surprised all the people around me in my life, because I've been like a computer guy, you know, for most of the time that I've been alive. Then like several years ago, I guess it's several years ago now, I started lifting. And did that, and that was one of my main hobbies for a while. I still do it, it's great. Then recently I got into gardening, and it's really satisfying. It's really satisfying to grow something, you know, just within a few months. It's also tasty, some of the things you can do. But I mean, that's something cool. That's something very generative. It's something that's, I mean, it can be as low effort as you want it to be. If you just want to have like a little herb garden, that's not much hassle, and you still get a pretty big boost out of it. Go plant some basil, it grows really easily. Make yourself some pesto, you know. But I mean, something as simple as that can be really exciting, you know. What are we doing here? I would really like to drop one of these items. Yeah, I'm sure you didn't, you probably didn't come on this channel to hear my philosophical musings, but tough titty, you're gonna have to deal with it. Especially since on this character there's not a lot to talk about. Kind of just throwing a lot of things. Let's drop these steel tomahawks. Anyway, this is Vaults 4. So we are just about done with vaults. We're level 25, so if my goal is to get to 27 before I go ascend, we're gonna do it by the time Depths and Zot's over for sure. Hey, it's by Susan. Let's see if I can't just confuse her. Nice. Still confused, even though she transformed. That's good. Glad that works that way, because that's how it should work. And we got her. Oh, whoa. Whoops. Maybe I shouldn't be spamming Needles of Paralysis accidentally. It's going to be pretty funny if I ascend with 4 AC, I'll tell you that. Alright, let's think about this. Do I want to go down? Oh, geez. Yeah, even with 3 of them next to me, I'm getting a little bit wrecked. It's that no AC, man. No AC, no GDR. It shouldn't surprise me at all that I'm basically taking an L from these guys. I mean, I haven't actually lost, but you know what I mean. It sucks because there's probably a ton of really nice stuff in here. There usually is. But I just don't see how I can do this safely. I could drop in, I could teleport, but it's just not, it's not safe. I have 1 blink scroll. I just don't have the tools, and if I use haste to accomplish this, you know, it would make this whole lot better. This would make it a whole lot better if I didn't have to deal with Volgards who see invisible. If they couldn't see invisible, we could contest this a little more easily. Oh man, let's see. 2 agility, only 2. Yeah, you know, we'll 3 rune it. This is fine. Yeah, this is okay. Let's just go finish out depths. Just making some notes to myself here. Why is this still full? Alright, I'll drop the steel javelins. No, I want those to be able to one-shot things that aren't weak to silver. I guess I'll just drop tomahawks. And we have so many javelins. Alright, let's do depths in the same video as vaults 1 through 4. Looks like we just got some more javelins of returning. Nice. I guess I don't even really have to clear out depths. Well, I'm gonna clear out depths 1 at least. If I see a really easy way down, I might just take it. Ooh. Hello. That's awesome. It's probably the best shield in the game. I mean, definitely the best shield in the game. Really excellent. It's only +2, so we lose a little bit of defenses, but we get a ton of resistances. If only we had some really nice AC rings. Let me check. Ancient Liches can't paralyze me even if I drop my Ring of Pro Magic. So we will drop that, and we'll go grab the, unfortunately, +1 AC ring here in a minute. Actually, I guess I could wear this Startella R Poise ring. Brings me down to RF minus, but we're minus Tella, so it's not like it can get me. I think I am going to do that, even if that sounds a little bit goofy. Okay. Yeah, let's do it. I just think that our poise is... Well, I value it... It's honestly weird because I value it... I think I value our poise more in the late game than the early game, which sounds weird because of adders and things, but truthfully, if you think about it, well, like if you run into Izal in the mid to late game, that might suck. Eat a bunch of Venom Bolt damage. If you run into all manner of elves that can cast that, you're going to be taking a ton of damage. I mean, I think Liches and Ancient Liches, right? Venom Bolt, Venom Bolt, Venom Bolt. Poison Arrow. Poison Arrow. So it's a source of damage. But even Deep Elf Mages, I think, don't they have Venom Bolt? Maybe not. Well, I know that Deep Elf Annihilators have Poison Arrow. So our poise helps you out a lot with all that. Let's see if we can't... Oh. Okay, hold on. What? Didn't we kill Nicola already in this game? In Shoals? Did we do that? Because I'm pretty sure we did. I guess I could be wrong. I might be thinking of a different game. Well, whatever. We have Arlek. Yeah, I guess it was a different game. Anyway, Nicola's kind of spooky. Let's get him with the javelins. He made a lot of noise on me. That ring's trying to teleport me, but can't. Always nice to see. I think I'm going to try to play Mutation Roulette. This Mutation Roulette really sucks. I have Frail and Super Deteriorate. So we'll take these potions with us. Drink one. Okay, nice. All done. And we even have our poise, which kind of defeats the purpose of me wearing this ring, huh? Oh, man, we're taking so many little trips to slime. Even for an RC or an AC +1 ring. Oh well. Some potions. These may actually help quite a lot. We have a lot of might to use. Really good stuff. For when we get to Zod. And we have RF+++, which is really nice to have on a character with no AC, I'll tell you that. Because our EV does very little for us against an orb of fire. I guess it lets me dodge the bolts of flame, but it does nothing against the fireballs. RF+++ will save me from that massive damage that I'm no doubt eating from having no AC. Tomahawks of Dispersal, very good. These I haven't used in this game, but they will blink things away from me. Hopefully. Okay, depth 3. Nice, looks like we've got a path right to depths 5, or depths 4. Wait my contamination off, go back invisible. Trying to take out Asterion here. I can tell this is one of those floors that's going to be just massive, like massively open. See, this is why I'm glad I have our poise. Oh, he's large. We're not large. We don't want to turn invis off. Oh, that's cute. Yeah, two-headed ogres are no joke. I do find it funny when a monster goes down hard to just a generic beat stick sort of creature. Which, to be fair, that could happen to me too. I mean, with no AC, there's no guarantee that the two-headed ogres don't do a ton of damage to me. Alright. Take out St. Roca. Actually, let's go up. We're getting smited pretty hard. Get him in the constrict. Oh, man. Did you die already? I guess I need to heal. And he dies to constrict, so I didn't even need to heal. But that's okay. Well, I don't know what's in here, but we're going to quaff flight, and we're going to find out. I guess there's maybe a way out of here? Yeah, it's like a weird little lava fortress with a bridge. So as I was saying, this floor is extremely wide open, so we're more or less going to have to clear it. The game isn't giving me much of a choice, really. Should have taken out these rock chasses sooner, since they could have copied some of the more powerful things around me. Let's turn off scrolls of enchant armor. We have nothing left to enchant. Okay, we've got Mara. How many is steel for this? Actually, you know what? I should be confusing. Easy enough, right? Everybody's afraid of Mara, but can't do much when confused. Alright. Go straight to depths 5. We actually have 3 magic mapping. So we can map a significant portion of Zot. Possibly rush down it. Wand of Scattershot. That's worth keeping in my inventory. Especially at 16.6 evocations. That's good. Yeah, we've got this little castle layout, so I may as well finish out. Wow, a lot of death drakes. Believe me, I don't want to fight any death drakes, but the game wants me to. Okay. Well, I'll use some curing. I'll use recharge on the scatter shot. Just throw javelins to finish that thing. Let's rest up. yeah, that castle's a big enough chunk of the level that I'm just gonna clear this. Don't really want to deal with stuff wandering in there on my way up. That's Marjorie and Co., but with the power of invisibility, I can pretty much just tab through her whole group. A lot of deep trolls. These may be the last deep trolls we see this game. That's gotta be like the 5th death drake I've seen. Surprisingly stout. Oh. Let's penetrate to here. Nice, floating eye generic enemy. Why don't we dig? This way I can just throw a bunch of javelins and oh man, that was some solid damage. Guess I should remember that these things can do quite a lot. I don't want to be in melee next to a golden dragon. Thankfully he breathes fire on me, which I'm extraordinarily resistant to. Let's rest up and come back down. Okay, he's confused. Excluding off the wrong staircases. The ones that if I go up I might be surrounded by nastiness. Because we skipped depths 4. Okay, we want to be careful here. We've got Crystal Spear. Looks like we took it out though. Invis is going to be nice in here. In Zot, I mean. That's interesting. I guess Deep Elf Sorcerer was in jail. It's kind of cute. Hat of the Bear Spirit. Okay. You better believe I'm going to wear that. Didn't expect to find that item, but I did. And that's really, really good. That kind of makes me want to... Yeah. Drop these 2 rings of +1 evasion and +1 protection. Instead, we're going to get this ring of magical power. Oh, dang. I thought we had 2 rings of magical power. Well, that sucks. That's okay. It's still good. to swap off one of those 2 rings for that. It just would have been nicer if we were able to do both, because that's effectively another 9 hit points, would have been 18. Get some AC there. Okay. Pretty cool. What we're going to do next is we're going to end the video. Next time we'll do Zot and hopefully ascend without a problem. Until then, I'm signing out.